All right, so how's everybody doing? Welcome to another wonderful session of the Ascension here on Forgebreaker. We got a lot to cover today, a lot of downtime stuff, a lot of other activities have taken place. Our adventurers have just finished White Plume Mountain and are on their way back to Blasendale now to hopefully get that taken care of, get these weapons distributed back to their proper owners, and kind of handle things. And apologize as you hear the noise in the background because it's springtime and I don't want to put the air conditioner in yet. We're looking at Tyranny of Dragons tomorrow. Typical start times for everything here, so 7:30 Eastern is all of our start times. Then we're back here on Wednesday for Amongst the Giants, then Saturday for Alliance, and Sunday for our Brotherhood one-shot. So if you guys are interested in checking out the Fallout one-shot slash what our campaign is going to be a bit like, be sure to tune in for that. That's going to be a lot of fun for us. And lastly, we have the Empire game the following Wednesday, along with our Brewing Storm, which I forgot to put on here because it wasn't on my list before. Brewing Storm is back not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So you guys get to look forward to some 3E or 3.5E action as well. I believe that covers everything I have. Are you guys ready in here? Hello? Okay. I'm not hearing anything. Hold on, let's check. Is that why? Input. Oh, all of my inputs got switched when I took my computer. No. Okay, one sec. There we go. This will do it. Hello? Still not hearing nothing. Okay, hold on. Might have to drop Discord, I think. Alright, let's reboot Discord and see if that's gonna fix it. It was just working, but that's okay. It's okay. And let's send it to recap here, because we're gonna get into recap as soon as I get in here.
The mute
there we
button
go.
that's on my headphone.
Okay, I'm here now.
Hey, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys now.
Yay! What's up?
So apparently what was going on is I took my computer yesterday to a game night, and then when I reconnected everything back up, it lost all of the configuration settings. So it forgot which speakers were going to what.
Good job.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Alright, so yeah, we're all set here.
Baller.
That's still not it.
Everybody else is ready, yes?
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that in our other chat? Our other Discord?
What?
The stuff about the stronghold. Stronghold rule.
Oh, no, I think I left that one. I think it was.
Oh, do you need the handout thing? On what to build and everything?
What you can build and whatnot?
Yeah, I have that. I'll copy it over.
Oh! That'd be nice so I don't have to go search it.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Alrighty. So we're going to take the start of this session, not necessarily do a recap, but mostly say what you've been doing. So about, what did I say, 30 days or 60 days?
You said 30.
30?
30, yeah, it wasn't long. You've made your way back to Blasingdale, to your makeshift keep that you begin sinking money into, and a place that you pretty much can call home in between adventures. So basically, you've had 30 days to yourself to do what have you. So we're just going to go down the list, and you're going to kind of tell me what you've been doing for these 30 days, and then we'll see where we go from there.
So I guess I'm first, right?
Yes. Just so y'all can see, you've made your way back to the keep, and now y'all have a map for it.
Yay. We have our place now.
So I spent the last month hanging out with my sister, training, talking, meditating, learning, etc. Catching up on lost time. Guess there was much of it.
There were some years. You discovered little bits of stuff, bits from her past since she came to the material plane from the Feywild. You know for certain that she has been here for several hundred years, compared to your less than 100 or so since you were transported to this plane. And since she's been here, she concentrated on helping others, finding a way back to the Feywild to do much like you were to avenge her family. She believed you were dead the entire time, and it wasn't until Malpheus sought your group out that she discovered that you were still alive and kicking. And while she wasn't super excited for the plan to bring you into their folds, she went along with it because she knew ultimately it would better your chance of survival. And I assume you started training as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure she has much information and swordsmanship that I could learn.
Yeah, you actually found out she was pretty good with a sword and a bow, and she worked with her animal companions almost flawlessly, almost as if they were fighting as the same being. It was kind of impressive. Seemed to be a different way of the ranger that you decided not to venture out into, but she had fully embraced. All right, Berwin.
Having returned, I guess, would the Druid Grove have been constructed by now?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because it only takes 15 days.
And I think Havoc and I figured out it was like 18 days or something that we were gone, so it should be done.
Perfect. I'd like to go pick up my fancy cloak that I had built, or commissioned, made of the dragon. I'd also like to basically really just hang out in the Druid Grove for the most part, learning all about it and what I can do in it, what I can make with the stuff that grows there.
Okay. So yeah, back behind, the way basically this is set up is that your keep, your building right now and the area around it is set up where it is situated facing the street across from the local manse of Blasingdale. And back behind it basically was just farmland, and that farmland has been essentially given to you all to use for your expansion, as well as other things like the Druid Grove and such. So this grove is actually back behind the keep proper. This back door up here leads... Back door up here. Up there.
There it is.
Leads to it, as well as a second floor balcony that Berwin had modified to lead up and wrap around one of the centerpiece of the grove, which is a large tree, a large oak tree. So you hang out there. You find that your communion with nature is much stronger than being anywhere else when you're in this area specifically designed for it. You feel in tune with everything, the different wilderness around this area, this plains area, as well as the creatures that inhabit it. if that matters to you or not. Doesn't always seem to, for whatever reason, because it's bad
Wow.
Druid.
Just bears. Just bears.
Just bears. And
Druid in air quotes.
yeah, and you're fine with swords and stuff too. But yeah, you're able to continue any other training that you had going on if you had any. And
I'd like to start alchemy tools, alchemist supplies, learning how those work.
okay. Yeah, I think those were all 60 or 90-day trainings, so I'd have to go back and look at the old server, honestly. But yeah, either way, 30 won't be enough. But you can go ahead and start training on it. Kind of have as a makeshift lab set up outside, maybe in your grove or in your room, one of the two. And hopefully you don't blow anything up. Roll me a d20.
D20. Okay.
Mm-hmm. See how your training goes. So
Average.
the first day, for first 2 weeks or so, you begin training on this. After spending a week or so communing with nature out in the grove, you decide to start picking up alchemy and training it so you could look at making concoctions that could help yourself as well as your comrades. One of the first things that you've decided to jump into that you've come into contact before a couple times is alchemist fire that you found in the Forge of Fury. That was obviously left behind by the Duragar and such. Unfortunately, your attempts to replicate it within the first weeks causes a minor explosion. Luckily for you, with the placement of the alchemy lab up in your room as well as down the grove, precautions were taken by a few of the people around town, so you were able to put it out by a small stream nearby and not set any permanent damage onto the keep.
Nice.
All right, Kaylin.
Yeah, I would have just spent my time just putting out feelers for a couple magical items that I've been looking for. Specifically, a expandable 10-foot pole from Arcanor, because I'm tired of him walking around with that big long one.
Okay.
And some spell scrolls. I'm still looking for the tiny hut spell, if I can find it. And then I'd just be working on continuing to learn jeweler's tools.
How many days were you in on that? 30 or 60?
I think I was 30 in,
Okay.
so I probably still have another 30 to go.
Let's see. So as you're shopping around, you notice, I mean, Blasingdale isn't a large city or anything. It's a big village. There are no magic shops or anything, but you do have travelers and merchants that pass through the town from time to time. And you actually have one. His name is Bodo that goes through about 2 weeks into your downtime here. And he claims to have various magical wares inside of his cart that he has for sale. So I'm imagining you're going to go ask him if he has these two items. Roll me a d20 and then another d20 after that. Okay. So as you walk up to them, you see this, actually a halfling that you walk up and see. Kind of scrawny looking, has a very large nose. As you walk up to him, he turns around and asks you what you want, what you're seeking out, and you tell him a 10-foot pole, one that collapses on itself. He thinks for a moment, kind of shrugs and says, I might as well go look. He heads into his cart. He's gone for a little while, about 15 minutes or so, to the point where you almost just turn around and leave. As he comes out of this cart, though, you see that he runs out of the cart with a large door on the back of it, bigger than what a halfling would need. And as he runs out of it, he immediately grabs the door and slams it shut. You hear the door being banged on from the other side. Bodo kind of reaches up and wipes sweat off his face and looks down and he says, well, I was able to find it. He kind of motions back behind him at the door. That guy didn't want to part with it, but here we are. And with that, he shows you the collapsible rod.
I will take that.
Well, you ain't getting it for free.
Oh, I'll pay.
How much it is? I'm trying to find it.
I got a berserker's ass you can have for it.
Definitely trade him the axe for the pole. Yes. I love that idea.
Pole of collapsing. That's what it's called.
Yep.
Oh, it's a Xanathar's item, so it doesn't have freaking prices. Oh well. Okay, wondrous item.
Oh, I can look that up real quick. Since it's common, right?
Yeah, it's a common. It's not shouldn't be that expensive.
No, it was like 1d6 plus 1 times 10 gold or something like that.
That isn't right.
Not okay with 10 gold?
Yeah. 1d6 plus 1.
That seems wrong.
That's 3 wins
Oh,
in a
I mean,
row.
that is 3. I mean,
that's a sign.
But the first thing he said before asking for a price, Kalen proffered up a axe that looks very odd. Give me a persuasion check, Kalen, as you try to proffer this axe to him.
Damn. Can I go deception instead?
Sure.
No, doesn't matter.
Oh shit. Well, okay, interesting. How do I handle?
I think we need
not
a
sure
roll
why I'm
off.
not showing in
How do
my
I handle that?
Discord thing. The Discord thing's not pulling my name up.
Need help.
Nat 20s on checks don't really count for anything. Just like
No, exactly.
so, it's like you.
Here, wait, you want me to take it the easy way?
I'm just
Because
thinking. Well, here
you want to get rid of this thing?
I'm trying to think of a.
Oh no, I can get around it. I can use my Devil's Own Luck to add 4.
Okay. Okay. All right. So as you're talking to Bodo, this is small man and everything, he kind of sees the axe and everything, kind of raises an eyebrow. You know, you definitely can tell that probably kind of evil, and he's kind of hesitant to take it, even though obviously he seems to have some very weird things inside of his cart. But with that, he kind of looks at it, and as you talk just a little bit further using your Devil's Own Luck, you're able to convince him, and he nods and says, "Very well," but he kind of looks down at the rod. He says, "Is there anything else that you're looking for? Because I feel like this is not an even trade. I'm getting much more out of this."
I mean, I am looking for a spell scroll of Tiny Hut, but if you don't have that, it's not a big deal. I think that my companions would think it was more than worth it for me to get rid of this axe for just about any price.
Roll me a 1d10. All right, had to beat a 4. So as he says that, he kind of nods. He says, "I might have just a thing. It shouldn't take me too long to find this. The library with spell scrolls in it is just around the corner, not all the way down to the basement." And with that, he jumps back into this cart that is sitting on wheels, does not have multiple floors, much less a basement. But he shuts the door behind him and disappears within. And after about 3 or 4 minutes, he comes out and has a single scroll case in his hand, along with the collapsible rod. And he sets them both down on a small table that he has in front of him. He says, "All right." And he kind of undoes the scroll and doing the cap on it, sets it out, and kind of opens the paper that's a little large for him to be holding, normal size for you regular people. He holds it out for you and says, "Is this what you're looking for?" And you clearly see, was it Liamon's tiny hut?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the ritual for Liamon's tiny hut scribed across it.
Yep, that's what I'm looking for.
All right, with that, he pulls out a sack from more of a backpack or a satchel from his side, and he kind of holds it open for you to drop the axe into. He says, "If you'll drop that in here, you'll be able to leave with these 2 items, and we're even."
Done. Drop that in there.
All right, and you have those 2 items that you were looking for.
Sweet. And since he's here, can I also ask if he has any rare inks, like 50 gold's worth?
For spell components.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you'll
I
have those.
need to be able to write in my book.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'd say either
I need
he
100
would have
gold
it, or
worth.
he would be able to have those, or someone else in town would be not terribly hard to get hold of.
Yeah, that's the other thing I need is just rare inks to write in my spell book.
All right.
Remove some money.
Got out without having to spend any money on your spell scroll stuff.
And I can get rid of that stupid axe.
Axe was super fun, though.
Oh, it's super fun, but I'm sure
Almost.
everybody else will be happy to see it gone.
Oh, yeah. One less
Just a
reason to kill it.
little.
But I mean, we don't know about the means of its release and wild.
So yeah, if I got you said there was like 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Okay, I would spend another day just copying the spell scroll over to my book of shadows, so I can have that ritual with me all the time.
You got it.
So I will add that to my spell list. And that, other than giving Markinor the collapsible pull, because like I said, I'm tired of him carrying around that long stick. Figure it might make him a little more stealthy.
Maybe. It might help.
Probably not, but we can try.
We'll try. I mean, fortunately, I don't have disadvantage on stealth rolls anymore, so.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so yeah, that would be all I was doing. Like I said, working on jeweler's tools because eventually I want to be able to make my own magic items. Proficiency first.
Just wanted to test these real quick. Sorry.
I don't see my pole of my 10-foot pole. It's in here.
So yeah, that's it for my downtime.
All right. And with that, we go to Markinor.
Yeah. So first thing, since we are now back, I'm going to immediately try to send word out to the owners of the 3 weapons that we have gathered from within White Plume Mountain. Try to get them their items back as they requested. And then once the items are distributed to their proper owners, immediately head off to Neverwinter, where I'm going to hire a clergy member to bring them back to the chapel that we have added to our keep. Individual's name, hold on. Individual's name is Emil Inendel. I-M-I-L. She's brought back to the keep basically there to kind of spread the word of Tyr, while I have other important things I got to take care of. After she gets settled in, I head back to Neverwinter. I'd like to try to find somebody to purchase the plate armor, the resistance to slashing, and the bracelet of rock magic while I'm there. Since those, I'm just holding on to those right now, and nobody wanted them, so...
Trying to sell them, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, sell them, and then I'll distribute the gold once I return.
Don't you have a lot of gold on you to distribute?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe I told you guys what that number was, right? I gave you guys a breakdown of that.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
Dot.
8,000 something.
I gave it to us before we took our break.
Is it in this in Roll20 chat?
No,
No,
I don't
it's
think
in,
so. It's in
It's in
Discord, I
Discord.
think.
Scroll.
And then Havoc, while you're doing that, I'll continue. So as that's kind of going on, and we're finding people to try to purchase those items. Let's see. Keep losing my list here. Yeah, so from there, I would spend some time within the Hall of Justice, basically just kind of trying to rededicate myself to Tyr and formally complete my Paladin Oath while I'm within the hall there. And then once that is finished, I would go to seek out the Dwarven Smiths from within Mithril Hall over on the Sword Coast. I think they're close to the Spine of the World. And go there and talk to the smith and kind of present my items to them, my armor and my hammer and my shield, and then tell them these ideas that I have, these wild and crazy ideas, and hopefully get some assistance from the dwarf there to make these ideas come to life.
Okay. So, from me, I need a D20 to see if you find anybody willing to buy your items.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. All right. So you had the rock magic thingy
Mm-hmm.
and armor.
The plate armor, resistance of slashing.
I need more D&D Beyond Windows.
Ilion, were you able to find that total?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it. That's what I put in Discord.
Okay.
All right, so you find a small shop that deals in buying and selling magic items. Seems like they don't have a lot of stock in. It seems like they more so ship them off to different places after they either buy or sell things, and they only have a few things in stock. But you walk in knowing their rapport for so, and you see that they are willing to buy both your items for the, was it a bracelet?
Yeah, it was a bracelet of rock magic.
For the bracelet of rock magic, the little man on the other side of the counter offers. Jesus, that could be such a big number. Yep, so.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he offers you for the rock, the bracelet of rock magic. He offers you 1,890 gold for it. Wait, that's not right. 10,890 gold. There we go. And for the armor, he offers. We'll just round it up to 3,000 gold for the armor.
Okay. And yeah, I would accept those 2 numbers for both of the items. And then as kind of exchanging these items, also ask about, I believe, looking for my character sheet, hold on. I would get or purchase a bag of diamonds off of him as well, if he has them.
So as the little man's kind of looking over the items as he agrees to that, he looks at them a little closer now that he actually has them in his grasp, and he kind of shakes his head and looks back at you and says, you know these items were cursed, right? I guess that makes sense on why you're trying to get rid of them.
And I kind of look at him and kind of shake my head and say, I was not aware, but I'm kind of glad that we didn't use them after all.
With that, the man kind of grins at you and looks at him. He kind of holds the armor up. He says, yeah, this armor would have been resistant to, I think I said slashing was the resistant. Yeah. So it would have been resistance to slashing. But then he takes a dagger and pokes it into the side of the armor, and the armor kind of almost parts ways to let the dagger through. Unfortunately, it would have made you vulnerable to anything besides slashing. He holds up the bracelet now. Looking over it, he kind of looks back at you and says, you don't have any dwarves or stone giants in your party, do you?
Kind of shake my head and say, no, unfortunately we only have a few elves with us.
That he kind of chuckles. He says, that's good then that you didn't ever use this. It has a chance to backfire and petrify anybody that uses it without being a dwarf or a stone giant.
Kind of nod at him and thank him for the information, and consider now if I want to inform the others of what I've just learned of these 2 items before we head back.
And what were you looking from him?
From him, I just needed a bag of diamonds, or a pouch of diamonds. It's a spell component thing.
Was there a monetary value attached to it?
Yeah, I think it's 500 gold worth. 300 gold worth.
No, not much at all. Yeah, you'll see that he has this lying around. He uses it just to get money from local places to get actual gold for currency.
Okay.
That he says, yeah, 300 gold for it. We'll be good to go. You're doing a job for me already. I don't have to go up to the bank and exchange it.
All right. Yeah. So I take those items. I still have the pouch of the other gems, and I'm holding on to them because I think we kind of decided we just wanted to keep them just in case. Is that right, guys? Or did we throw those in with the gold total?
I think we were keeping any of the larger ones in case we needed them for spell components later.
Yeah, we kept the 2 big ones, 3 big ones that we had, and then we had 17 others that were just random ones.
I think we were not worrying about those ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll just sell all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll get rid of all of those 2 if he's interested, or take them somewhere, I guess, to the bank or whatever, and see if they'll exchange them.
Yeah, the one that was trying to sell or deals with magic items isn't real interested in lesser stuff. He would just use it to exchange stuff, so he has no real need for it. But gems and jewelers, easy to find, especially in the bigger cities like Neverwinter and such. So you'd have no trouble finding somebody to give you the base price for these items.
Okay. Yeah, and I believe that was that was wrapped into that total too that I gave everybody. So we'll make sure to exchange those. And then from there, having that stuff, I'd head out and have the armor and weapons and stuff taken care of.
Okay, yeah, and you'll be able to do so. It takes I'm trying to remember what all you wanted.
It's the shield armor and the hammer. I'm anticipating, like, if I get any training, it's going to be for like 2 or 3 days, and my training is going to be going to the Knights of Holy Judgment and offering my services as like a stand-in for combat training or something. I don't expect I'll have any real time to do anything.
Yeah. So we'll say you took about a week to get to Neverwinter. Spent a few days there. Traveled again to find a smith. The prices you listed are fine, so detract those if you haven't done so already.
I've already done that.
And takes about 2 weeks. So you're by the time you leave with your new armor and everything, due to just the bulk of the order, it took a while. By the time you leave with your armor and head back, you're actually hitting up. You'll be arriving back in Blasingdale on the 30th day.
Okay. And yeah, as that's going on, especially with the shield being a very important piece to me now, I'm wanting to make sure that I'm there, kind of at the smith side, to kind of bless the shield and attempt to use this as my holy symbol that I will be using for my spell focus.
Yeah. So you actually found the reason you had to travel is because you had to find someone not only skilled enough but also willing to deal with these religious rites. Most regular blacksmiths would tell you to fuck off if you wanted to bless a shield in front of them while they're trying to work on it. But you were able to find an old man that was actually a follower of Tyr as well, and did some work for the local churches that you're a member of and know well. So under recommendation from a few people you know, including Sir Bradford, actually, directed you to this man, and he was able to get you set up and allowed the rites to be done so that your armor would function the way that you needed it to.
All right. And then, yeah, I'd head back. What is the story with the 3 weapons? Did the owners come to retrieve them?
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, actually nobody, the owners themselves, aside from the Duke that you had dealt with previously, he did return. He was the owner of...
He was... hold on. He was the owner of Black Razor. At least from what I had in my notes. Because there was a dwarf that was supposed to be the owner of the hammer, and I don't remember who was the owner of Wave.
Yeah, I didn't write that down in my notes. That's an oversight. Okay, yeah. So the local Duke is actually the owner of Black Razor. He's the one that comes to see you after you've been back for a couple days, after Markinor has already left, but also sent out his missives to everybody. With that, the Duke shows up, happy that you were able to retrieve the item. He actually has a couple of wizards with him that take over Black Razor, keeping it in check, essentially, so that nobody else gets on there. He gets a hold of it, rather. He explains that the reason he has that is just to keep it out of other people's hands. He thought that the precautions he had set up had been enough to keep it away from people, but since then he has redoubled his efforts and increased security. He points off and mentions the other 2. As you said before, a dwarf that lives up along the spine of the world was the owner of Whelm. He sent down a few people. It took a few weeks, for almost a full 30 days, for them to arrive. But once they did so, they claimed the item, thanking you and compensating you with an amount I'll tell you in a minute. Then also offered to provide armor and weaponry if you so needed it, as they have a established forge up in the spine of the world. You just have to find them. As far as Wave, you don't see any representatives. Wave just disappears one night. At first you think it's been stolen again, until you find a note that had been left on one of the tables down in the inn, the tavern down on the ground floor, that simply said thank you, and then had a sack underneath it. Inside the sack were promissory notes, basically bank notes, for another amount, basically as payment for retrieving the item.
Okay. And that total, guys, 2 of you will get the 3473. I'll take 3472 on one, and somebody else can take the other.
I'll take 3472.
I mean, that 1 gold's gonna kill me.
We could have split it up into what? 50 silver apiece. Not that I really care.
I don't think people are going to be that worried about
Yeah.
it. Especially after exchanging the promissory notes as well as the wagon of gold that was left out on the front. You all now have 10,000 gold added to your inventory, or you need to add 10,000 gold to your inventory.
Wait, an additional 10,000 to this 3472?
Yes. Each.
Okay.
Okay.
As I said, this money wasn't really delivered promptly. It took some time, but between the Duke and the other 2 people that we didn't get their names for, but they're all very wealthy and very powerful individuals. They sent about almost 50,000 worth of materials. Some of it you used to compensate for travels and things like that, but 40,000 total was what the reward ended up being for you all, 10,000 each.
Okay. That's a lot of gold.
Got a lot of stuff you want to work on, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Takes money. Alrighty. So, about 30 days have passed. You've all, the other 3 of you, Mark and Or, you're making your way back into Blasingdale at this point. The other 3 have been in and out of your rooms and your respective hovels, as well as going through the town and such, basically staying in the area for the most part. I'll say that Berwin's chilling in with his bear friend. Kaylin is coming from downstairs where a basement is being constructed. She's kind of overseeing that. Aelion, after a night of practicing, you've woken up down in the inn bedroom, mass bedroom down here. And Mark and Or, you walk into the front door early in the morning, and you see something kind of odd for your own personal inn. You see a man sitting by himself, looking down at a cup of ale sitting between his hands. As you look over at this man, you see that his head is covered in white bandages all the way around, obviously covering some kind of injury. As you kind of tilt your head to look at him a little bit more as you're setting your bags down from your travels, you see that there's more bandages wrapped around his chest. It seems like he was somewhat heavily wounded recently, but he seems to be very content and staring at his ale, even though it's ass crack of dawn.
And I'm the only one really in the room. Kaylin's kind of entering.
Yeah, Kaylin's coming into the room.
As I see the guy over sitting at the table, I'll greet him and just kind of look him over and say, "Are you doing all right, sir?"
With that, the man kind of raises up. You see a few-day-old stubble, resting across his cheeks and his mouth. Kind of tilts his head at you. He looks down at his chest where the bandages are. He reaches up and runs a hand along the bandages across his head. He looks at you, kind of raising an eyebrow. What do you think?
Well, I think a man willing to make his way into our keep and have a nice ale is in good company. Can I ask what has occurred here? What's caused you these injuries?
With that, the man kind of sighs and leans back, somewhat slouching. As he does so, you do see the scabbard as well as the hilt of a large sword raising up that's resting upon his back. Even though he's kind of slouching and such, it looks kind of what you've seen before from a few other people you've met. He seems ever ready, like he could draw that sword in an instant and cut somebody down if he needed to. But as he takes somewhat a relaxed stance, leaning back in his chair, he takes another gulp from his cup that he has in front of him and looks at you and says, well, just doing the normal things, saving the world, getting rid of liches, demi-lich this time, I guess. But Yes, the same thing. You know, things that you do. You do that, right?
Mm, a bit quizzically kind of raise an eyebrow to him and say, "Indeed, that's what I do for a living."
With that, he kind of raises his his glass torch. He says, "Good, I came to the right place then."
Um, as he says this, I'll kind of look around, seeing Kaylin making her way into the room, and say, "Is there something specific that you feel that we might be able to assist you with?"
As you say that, he kind of raises an eyebrow and looks looks at you, Marknor, and then catches and sees Kaylin coming into the room. He says, "There will be. Where's the other two?"
Kind of look over at Kaylin and ask if she's aware of where the others are.
Probably sleeping in the other room. We go get them. Go walk out and wake up Aeolion.
Kind of
It's all burn when we have a visitor.
grumbles awake. Sort of half
A
dressed.
visitor. Okay.
He's not very mornings.
So as everyone begins to make it into the room, the man stands up. As he does so, he kind of winces. You can see he's obviously pretty banged up. Maybe should probably still be in bed. However, he's just kind of grinning and bearing it, and stands up, taking one last huge gulp from his glass, and then sets it onto the table. Walks around the table and marches up towards you all, not threateningly or anything, just kind of sizing everyone up as they move up. And as Aeolion finally makes his way into the room, he walks over to Markinor, looking him up and down, moves over and looks up Kaylin as well as Berwyn, and then Aeolion finally as he marches into the room sluggishly. With that, the man kind of sighs and moves back over and leans against the table. He says, "Well, you may be able to do it. Unfortunately, I'm unable to," and he kind of grimaces as he looks down at his body due to doctor's orders, you see.
I mean, it's obvious your injuries are pretty critical. I wouldn't expect that anyone would willingly let you just jump right back into combat again.
With that, the man kind of tilts his head and looks over you, and you see a wry smile across his face. He looks down at his chest, his smile kind of disappearing once again. He says, "I took a lich's blade to the chest yesterday." Kind of rubs his hand across his chest. Still tingles.
Yet you still live.
With that, he kind of smiles again. You see him kind of warming up a little bit as he's gotten up and started moving around. He says, "One of the four doesn't go down that easily. It'll take more than one little knife to take me out."
The four, you say? Who exactly? Hold on. The four, is that representative of the group that we were talking to before?
Oh, yeah.
Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you've met
Okay.
3 members of,
Yeah.
but not the 4th.
Go ahead.
So yeah, as you kind of look at him, he smiles and once again kind of cringes in pain. You all know that liches are like borderline godlike. That him nonchalantly saying that he took a blade to the chest and is like, "Yeah, no, one day passed, I'm fine." He's obviously putting on a strong front, but he's a lot more injured than he actually is. But the fact that he's alive is hugely surprising. But with that, the man kind of leans against the table once again. He says, kind of raises his hand up and shakes his head. He says, almost absentmindedly, "I apologize. My mind isn't all there today. We haven't properly met, I guess. You've met the other ones, Malpheus, and the girl, as well as the old man. Need to see him." He kind of motions to his chest again. Says, kind of waves out a hand in greeting, not so much to shake with anybody. Says, "My name is Lan Mandragoran."
Greetings, Lan. I'm Markinor, and these are my compatriots. Kind of point back to Aelion, who's entering in the room, and say, "This is Aelion, Berwyn, and Kaelin."
As you say that, he kind of waves his hand back and forth. He says, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. I know exactly who you are. I've been watching you under Malpheus's grand scheme and all that. I know who you are. I know what you've done up until recently when I was preoccupied, unfortunately." With that, he kind of leans back and lets up just kind of a yawn in front of you. He seems very nonchalant. He says, "You see, I've been down in Daggerford. Maybe you've heard of it, down south on the Sword Coast."
Indeed, I have.
Daddy nods. He says, "And do you know of the country of Thay that lies to the east?"
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
Where did my map go? Oh no. So yeah, you all know basic geography of Faerun. You know that the Sword Coast is only the western part of this continent. However, you do know to the east is 20 times bigger as far as continent landmass than what you've really been focused on here on the Sword Coast. To the east, in the central part of the continent, there's the Sea of Fallen Stars, which is a miniature ocean that takes up the central area of this continent. However, to the east of that, even further, tens of thousands of miles away from your current location, is a country called Thay. Basic information that you know of Thay that you learned, that everybody learns growing up, is that it used to be a country full of wizards. It was one that was focused on knowledge, very seclusive, didn't really do any trade aside from trade of knowledge from those that had it and those that didn't, and sought it from the Thayans. However, somewhere in the last century or so, they changed. Instead of the normal knowledge-based government that they had before, they came under power of a lich named Zaz Tam, who took over the country with an iron fist, sending hordes of undead all around the country to, bring it under his rule, killing anyone who stood before him, basically just making a complete dictatorship. To the point where nobody goes to Thay, and any Thayans that are seen are met with, at the least, scrutiny, but more so threats and, being sent away, much like drow and goblins would be. So with that, he says, I've been dragging her down in Daggerford. It seems like Zaz Tam seems like he wants to move here lately. Couldn't just be happy owning one country. He wants all of Faerun. And he decided that he was going to start here on the Sword Coast. And with that, Lan begins to explain what he's been dealing with for the past few weeks while you were having some fun inside of a mountain. He tells of there was a... Let me make sure I have my terminology correct. It's in one of the 47 handouts I've got. Give me a second.
Only 47 handouts?
Only 47 for this one, along with the 12 maps.
There. That pushes it over.
Damn it, where is it?
I was looking for a reason to use this feather that I have, but I can't because it's too far away.
To travel to Thay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'd be a long, long way.
I have that swan boat feather thing that I got in the very first dungeon. but it only lasts for 24 hours. So that would be
Okay.
bad.
It would get you like
So
down
we'd
over-
have
Nowhere.
a boat for 24 hours, and then we'd end
Drown.
up in water.
Mm-hmm.